Hello everyone, welcome to my channel once again, and in this particular video we will be discussing on the China's actions in the South China Sea. In this particular video we will be focusing on the kind of actions and the kinds of hegemony that the China wants to establish in the entire Asian region that could be understood, and what will be the role of USA in these things. We will be discussing about these. Now, when most of the countries are struggling with COVID-19 pandemic, as we all know, there is the one country who has the sole role in it, that is China, obviously, responsible for this outbreak, are taking advantages unabatedly in this particular region, that is South China Sea. So, before going on the discussions, let's have a look on the South China Sea. So, this particular region belonging to South China Sea. This is situated in the Pacific Ocean. This is Pacific Ocean, and in the entire region is known as Pacific Ocean. This basically the South China Sea is located below the China, means that in the south of the China, right? So let's discuss what's been in the news in recent days. In this South China Sea, China has conducted military drills and deployed large-scale assets to this maritime area. If we believe Vietnam, then as per the Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Chinese vessels have smashed and sunk a Vietnamese fishing boat near about carrying 8 Vietnamese fishermen. Okay, so in the Parcel Islands in the South China Sea. So you can see here the South China Sea, and in this South China Sea there you can see the Parcel Islands. Here you are going to see Parcel Islands. Now this is Vietnam in the west of Parcel Island, and in the north of China, in the north of Parcel Island there is the China, and in the east you can easily observe Philippines. So in this particular island, the 8 Vietnamese fishermen, Vietnamese fishing boat which were carrying 8 Vietnamese fishermen were smashed, right? So now this Parcel Island, if we talk about particularly about this Parcel Island, then this Parcel Island is archipelago. Okay, so archipelago is nothing but a group of islands. So this particular includes 100, almost 130 small coral islands and reefs. Now Vietnam stated that it has violated, means that the China has violated their sovereignty over the Parcel Islands, causing property losses and endangers the lives and safety of their citizens, basically the Vietnamese fishermen. Now, in a very harsh tone, Vietnam has said China to investigate the incident and make adequate compensation. Right. So now interestingly, the Philippines have also condemned this incident and said such incidents undermine relations between Southeast Asian nations and China. Earlier reports have shown similar kinds of clashes between Indonesian fishing vessels and Chinese Coast Guard and Chinese fishing vessels. Right. Meanwhile, the US State Department basically stated and has warned China to remain focused on supporting international efforts to combat the global pandemic and to stop exploiting the distraction or vulnerability of other states to expand its unlawful claims in the South China Sea. According to me, how will it affect the Chinese diplomacy? Only time can say. As of now, these advancements and unlawful beginnings must be condemned by every nation. Obviously, this way China is hampering its relations with its Southeast Asian neighbors and raise question that why it continues its assertiveness in the disputed waters when most of the states are having to contend with the challenges posed by COVID-19. Beside these incidents, there were satellite images showing a Chinese military plane landing on Kagitingan Reef in the West Philippine Sea. So let's have a look on the Kagintingam Reef. Kagintingam Reef, here you can see the Kagintingan Reef. Okay, So there are also reports that China recently opened a research station on Kagetingen and Zamora Reef. Here you are seeing Zamora Reef, right? So in these two reefs, Kagetingen and Zamora reefs, to gather data on ecology, zoology, and environment. Okay, so China have opened a research station in the Speritiles. Speritiles are the islands where you can see this is the Speritil Islands, right? Now, the writers want to say that this can be for China basically, this can be seen as a window of opportunity because USA is grappling with the pandemic, and one more reason would be because in recent times American ties with Vietnam have been on an upward trajectory, and Vietnam has been the ardent supporter of FONOP. What is FONOP? FONOP is nothing but you can say basically the freedom of navigation operations carried out in South China Sea, right? So, and in that response, China had also conducted anti submarine drills in South China Sea before the pandemic hit. So, now what's the way forward? At present, Vietnam is the chair of the ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and will be presiding over the discussions of the Code of Conduct. And one more thing, as among all the claimant countries, Vietnam has always taken strong action against China. Regardless of the fact China have huge military potential. If we talk about Philippines and Indonesia, they have changed their stance quite often. And one more thing, one more important thing you can say, when most of the countries are blaming China for this COVID-19 outbreak or the coronavirus, we say, if he wants to see global credibility, creating tensions in South China Sea should be the least of its priorities. So this is the end of video, and thank you very much.